Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi, and thank you for joining us on this Friday, July 17th, to do our every weekday, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, live Q&A to take your immigration questions and try to give you some general guidance, not case-specific guidance, but general education on the U.S. immigration system that changes almost every hour. So it's complicated. I know it stressed a lot of people out. So we're gonna get into that and talk about that bit. If you're watching this recording on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get the latest videos. I put out a ton of videos every day, short clips that go to the heat of the center of the questions you're asking for, as well as live video and other videos that really break down the immigration process better than anyone else, I think. And to add to the ultimateness of what I'm providing, I have released the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. It's an ebook that breaks down the entire marriage green card process and fiance process. If you're in the United States, outside, if you're married, if you're engaged, it goes through all that kind of stuff. I think it's the best out there. That's why I call it the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. And you can find that at marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. You'll catch that there, download it, take a look. And if you want to schedule a consultation afterwards, please give my office a holler. And the book also has a chapter that breaks down how to choose a lawyer, how to even get a lawyer. So jump into that and we'll take it from there. So with that, let's get it started. All right, everyone, thanks for joining today's live program. As people are starting to trickle in, we usually have a large group here every day, listening and, just taking these questions. So I'm really excited to talk about that. There's a lot of things going on in the immigration world. They say that the embassies are opening, and then they say the embassies are closing. Who knows what's happening? Some of them are doing operations, some are not. I have a client who is having their fiance visa interview in a few days in let's say, Oceania, that area. So that's going to be cool to see them do that. Thank you, Hamza. Thank you for the kind words. And so hopefully, everyone can get things up and running, especially USCIS to do the adjustment of status green card interviews that are really holding people back. They want to get their green card. They want to finish it up, the process, and it's just not happening. And we don't know if it's going to happen. One is they said probably in July the green card interviews will start happening. But at the same time, USCIS is having severe funding issues. So we'll see what's going on with those funding issues and how they can be fixed. Hamza, again, thank you. If you had a question, let me know. But thank you for joining us on our Facebook feed. We have more people coming on TikTok. Immigration Lawyer John is a TikTok feed on Fridays. We're live on Facebook, JQK Law Firm. And the recording of this is put on JQK Law Firm's YouTube page where you can catch it there. There's a lot of different types of questions that pop up, so it's gotten popular. A lot of people are viewing it, and we're getting a lot of nice comments from 1234 from Samin. I hope it's a compliment. You say I look like Ranbir Kapoor. I hope that's a compliment. I don't know Ranbir, but thank you anyways. I'll take that as a compliment. I appreciate it. So what's going on in immigration? There's a lot going on. We're really battling stuff. One of the things that we're seeing has become more difficult is getting things expedited. There's mistakes being made in applications. I have to be on the phone with USCIS for 45 minutes today to try to correct an error they made, which has caused my client's case to go 3-4 months longer than it should have. And so that's been a hassle. It's a mess. So I'll ask, will the USCIS schedule the interview for the green card? Well, I just got done talking about that, but we don't know. We're waiting on them to do something. Thank you, User49. I'm not sure if it's a compliment or a diss, but happily married. Fady, thank you for the photos. I'm not sure what the image is, but thank you so much. Jose says, what's the current wait for renewal of green card from marriage? By renewal, I think you mean the I-751 removal of conditions, going from a 2-year to a 10-year green card. Usually it's between 1 to 2 years. I had one done in 7 months, but I usually say between 1 to 2 years is a safe time frame for that. And just important thing that comes up in regards to that is I was watching a YouTube video of a colleague who said that while your removal of conditions for I-751 is pending, and you've been married to a U.S. citizen, typically you could file a citizenship case after 3 years of having a green card, not 5 years, as is the normal case for everyone else. However, this attorney was saying that you can't file the citizenship until your I-751 is approved. Unfortunately, that's incorrect. The USCIS office locally in Los Angeles has told me this in written format. I've even filed cases like this successfully completed over the years. If you have a removal of conditions from I-751 case pending, and you hit the 3-year mark of having your green card, or even 2 years and 9 months, and you satisfied the rest of the conditions of citizenship, you 100% can file Form N-400 application for naturalization, also known as citizenship, while the I-751 removal of conditions is pending. Now, they can't approve the citizenship until removal of condition is approved, but usually either the I-751 application is approved and then you get an interview for citizenship, or the citizenship appointment comes, and this happened to me several times, and we go there and say, let's do the I-751 and the citizenship interview on the same day, get them both out of the way. And if the field office has a copy of your file for the I-751, which they probably would, and they have the staffing to do it, I don't know with COVID-19 being understaffed what's going to happen, but in the normal circumstances, we just get the I-751 out of the way, get that approved, and then they walk us over to a new officer and then have them do the same. And then we get it approved. So, there's a lot of different information. One thing I always tell people, when you are consulting with an immigration lawyer, always consult with like at least 2, really at least 5. I would say 5. It takes a lot of patience, maybe some extra money, but you'll talk to 5 people and you will probably get 5 different answers. It's kind of crazy how immigration law is so messed up that 5 lawyers who have experience will give 5 different answers most of the times. And it's because every time they dealt with the case, another attorney and me might have dealt with the same case, but some officer handle it differently. We learn different lessons from that. Or some people have less knowledge or more experience in certain areas. It varies. So it's really important to talk with a lot of different people to get different opinions, to see what you think. Do your research as well. Read stuff online. You got to participate in this because it is your future. It's annoying to have to go and do all that. But that's what we're here for. That's why I have, this video so you ask questions live. That's why I have the ebook, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook at marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. So you can study this stuff and have a source there and have references so you can really see what's going on and you can get the best representation possible because it's all over the place. That attorney that made that mistake knows a ton of stuff, even maybe better than me in certain areas of law. But that one specific area he messed up on, and it was a bad one because people really need that information. So I just wanted to share that with you all. It's just the situation. Same thing, with doctors. I'm not a doctor, but we go to the doctor and whatever that one doctor says, like our family doctor, we believe him. But who knows how much they keep up on studying? Who knows how much they're paying attention? You might go to a different doctor and they'll say something completely different, which happens. You hear all the time when people say, oh, the doctor said I'm going to die in 2 months, and then 10 years later they're alive. These stories happen all the time. So it's unfortunately the same with all businesses, between engineers, lawyers, doctors, plumbers, everybody. It just varies. So you got to do your homework, do your best to try to get the best representation and avoid these kind of mistakes. I kind of got off topic there, but I thought it was very important information to share. And a viewer was kind enough to send me a picture of Ranbir Kapoor, which one of our listeners said I look like. They said I kind of look like it, LOL. I guess, yeah, why not? I'll take that as a compliment. Well, thank you for the questions and discussion. All right, user 251 says, how long to take I-130 case for spouse? There's a lot of talk about there. I don't like getting into timelines, especially with COVID-19. I can't say a reliable number, so I don't want to say anything at all. Unless I'm going to give facts, I don't want to guess and just say stuff that'll be different. It's not appropriate, especially because it's recorded and people rely on this. Jose says, mine will expire in 8 months. I have to renew it. Jose, I have to see what's going on with your case. You should be verified. I don't know how they could do it. But if you guys could push it for me to get verified, that'd be great. One thing that might help is if you are watching, you're a regular listener, and you've seen the things I do, please you go to, type in JQK Law Firm on Google, and go ahead and leave a 5-star review right there and say, I've been helpful, or don't even say something, just leave the 5-star. It'll help me out a lot. And we'll push to get verified and everything like that. The more reviews, the better. So it's JQK Law Firm. You put that in Google, on the right side of it, my law firm stuff comes up, and you can leave a 5-star review. It'd be much appreciated. Fady says, I have my friend, he married and half temporary green card, and he needs to divorce. Now what's happening? Well, your friend needs to consult with an immigration attorney as soon as possible, because if you have a temporary green card, the 2-year conditional residency, and you get divorced, it gets very messy. You can still keep the green card, but you really have to show that the relationship was not fake. That was a real relationship, and you're just it broke up because it broke up. They need a lot of documentation, evidence, and it requires a lot of preparation. So your friend should, as soon as possible, immediately call an immigration attorney, schedule a consultation, and as I talked about earlier, schedule a consultation with multiple immigration attorneys to get different opinions, because they'll tell you multiple different things about this one topic of getting divorced while you have a conditional green card. A lot of lawyers know what to do, a lot of lawyers don't. Some know half of it, some know others. It's all over the place. But the best thing to do is for them to consult one-on-one, because the lawyer really needs to sit down and review what kind of evidence they have that this relationship is real. Because how are they going to prove it? And sometimes you don't have much evidence. We're like, well, what kind of statements could we have? What kind of personal statements and affidavits could we include? How can we just sit and talk and brainstorm to see what kind of documents you have that you might not have thought about? What email exchanges you have that we can show? Maybe there was abuse in the relationship that we can show over abuse. And there's a myriad of stuff, but they really need to buckle down, sit down, and analyze the case. And so they should as soon as possible, because timing is very sensitive here when you are getting divorced in the middle of an I-751 removal of condition. So 100% they should consult with an attorney as soon as possible to avoid problems down the line. Shabnam, thank you for sharing the current the feed. Fayed says, Kay, if he divorced, like what happened now? Is this paper will be later? What? I don't know, Fayed. As I said, he has to schedule an attorney in private. 123 is how long it take to remove conditions after divorce. This is all part of that. This is a more complex kind of thing. I wouldn't even, the timing goes out the window when you're getting a divorce. Different issues pop up. So this is something that just really should happen, conversation in private with the lawyer. So we got a lot of questions about this all of a sudden. Jose says, can I lose my green card if I get divorced before the 2-year expiration? I think I just answered that, so hopefully you have that. And we got a lot of people joining the group. Jose says, oh yeah, thank you, Jose. Sadiq, thanks for joining. Jose says, thank you for the advice. I'm in Chicago. Let me see if I know a lawyer in Chicago, because you're going to have an interview. Most likely, if you're getting a divorce in the middle of I-751, they're going to want an in-person interview, so it's good to have a lawyer come with you to the interview to be prepared. I know 1 or 2 lawyers in Chicago, but definitely go ask around, look online, find reviews. You know, download my ebook, marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. There's a chapter in there that discusses how to choose an immigration lawyer, and you don't have to, the rest of the book doesn't make it that much of a difference for you because you already got the green card. But that one chapter that breaks down how to do, and I'm probably going to do a video on a separate video on that one chapter, but things to look for when hiring an immigration attorney, I think will be helpful, so check that out. Let's see what else. Fady says, thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate that. So Hamza says, sir, what do you think about Ayla lawsuit? Well, Ayla's got a couple lawsuits going. Which one do you mean in particular? Jose says, I'll definitely download the book. Thanks again. You're welcome. Yeah, the book it took a lot of time and it's free. Just download it. I do get your email, so you might get an email from me. Feel free to unsubscribe on that. But, it's just it's a lot of important information. Hiring a lawyer is really expensive. So I want people to at least, have an idea what's going on. It hopefully helps out a little bit and gives back to the community. Rosa says, can you write the name of the book, please? I don't have a way to write it right here. Actually, I do. I'll write it on TikTok right here. It's going to take me forever. I hate writing on my phone. But I got a URL. It's pretty simple. marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. EBOOK. marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. And if you leave a comment on one of my videos or something on TikTok, I'll respond with it back. But if I'm going to type on the phone right now, I'm going to knock the phone over and it's going to ruin the video. So I'm going to do it like that. But you're welcome, Rosa. Thank you so much. And feel free to share that ebook and stuff. Ideally, you refer people to our website so I get their email and stay connected with them. But feel free to distribute that. And it's something I'm going to keep updating. Like, for example, I had a consultation the other day. And the client was very nice, but I said, you know what, you can't afford to have an attorney right now. You have to do it down the line, so that's the short of it. But I said, hey, get the ebook, and what I'm going to do is add some extra stuff to ebook, and I haven't got around to doing it now. But they needed like a translation certificate. They were going to pay for a translator, and I said, hey, it's not needed to pay for a translator for USCIS. If you have a friend who's fluent in that foreign language, they could sign a translation certificate and translate it and do it for free if they're your friend. And so I'm going to add a copy of a translation certificate there. Now, some people need affidavits included, so I have a sample of an affidavit that they can use to help them. I'm going to add that to that ebook there as addendums, as endings to the book. I just got to get around to do it. Hopefully, today was when I was supposed to do it. Hopefully, this weekend I'll get around to do it. So check back in and check out this ebook. It'll be updated constantly. Eventually, it's going to be a really thick book with a lot of where the law is exactly, INA 245, INA 212, like very specific kind of stuff. That's probably going to overwhelm regular people, but I really want to make it like the encyclopedia or dictionary of immigration law. All right, Son says, any update about marriage-based interviews starting to come? I talked about that a couple times already today. No updates. They say it might start in July, but it really just depends on COVID-19 and your local office. Hamza says, the last report about the immigration ban. So, I mean, AILA does a lot of lawsuits. They sued currently... I lose track. I don't keep... You know, the thing about it, people sue all the time. So until the lawsuit, something happens, I don't know. Oh, one law, speaking of lawsuits... you know, DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, was in the news because the Supreme Court said that President Trump wrongfully terminated the program. So he has to redo the whole thing all over again to get rid of it. And these are people who came to the U.S. as kids and get special permission to get a work permit and stay here in the meantime. And so they were not accepting DACA cases, new ones, for filing. They're returning those cases. District Court in Maryland is forcing the government to start, you know, just because the Supreme Court said things have to go as how they were before President Trump announced the stoppage of DACA. So things have to go back and forth. So a District Court in Maryland announced today that yes, Trump has to stop it, essentially. I mean, has to start accepting DACA applications, which may include advanced parole. Now, having said that, while this is happening, I just put two and two together. The day before yesterday, USCIS made an announcement that they're changing, or they're updating their policy manual that says things are discretionary, and so giving us notice that it is within their discretion to give certain benefits, in particular a work permit and other kind of stuff. So, you know, if they say it's in their discretion, even if you are, if it applies to you, even if you could get that, you match all the eligibility requirements, it's still in their discretion to give it to you. And the policy of the U.S. government right now is, due to the high unemployment rate because of COVID-19, they don't want foreign people to come and work here. If you're not a green card holder, existing green card holder, or a U.S. citizen, that's the policy of America right now. So I just clicked in my head, oh, okay, DACA may come back, but they're probably not going to give the work permit or make it difficult to get the work permit. So be prepared. Now, that might be the case. It's speculation, but it just makes sense that they're doing that. So, you know, with this administration, they're going to do whatever they can to create problems for people that are immigrants, and that's probably what's going to happen. That was like a court update I just popped in my head. There's just so many lawsuits going on, and I'm potentially preparing to file some lawsuits for my clients too, that it's a lot to keep in track of. There's asylum lawsuits, just every aspect of immigration law as lawsuits. I actually have a podcast called the Immigration Lawyers Podcast where I interview people, and I had a whole series about 6 months ago where I tracked and interviewed the lawyers that are involved with 6 or 7 lawsuits, and I keep people updated on this kind of stuff myself. So if you're very interested in immigration law activities, visit immigrationlawyerspodcast.com or find it on iTunes and hear what's going on, the latest in the world of immigration. It's a trade podcast. It's not necessarily for regular people, but it's the best information you can find out there. I'll say that. Saran says, any update about marriage? You got through that. DACA says, any updates about DACA? Ileano, I hope you heard what I just said. I think I answered it right when your question was up. I hope that helped. Bashir says, hello, sir. Can immigration do this fingerprint? Well, fingerprinting for immigration, they said is going to be opening up as of today, but it depends on the local location. So there's some cities right now, COVID-19 is going crazy, so they may not open it there. So they're starting to open the fingerprinting. You might get an appointment notice, but it might be canceled, or you might not get an appointment notice. Everything that's going on with COVID-19 causes the immigration system to very slowly move forward or just stay closed out of caution for their own employees, and it's understandable. The fingerprint appointment, you got to go and sit right next to someone or stand them. They're going to get your hand, a bare hand with no gloves, put it out there, and then take a photo of you face to face, even with the mask. You know, they're worried too. They're people too. So we don't know what's going to happen with biometrics exactly, and it's going to vary depending on the city ordinances, the state ordinances, all a host of other matters. All I can say is be patient. Unfortunately, that's not a good answer because you might want your work permit. If you need, sometimes you need a fingerprint for that. You might just want things to move forward, but we don't have much control over that. It's just the situation that the world is in right now. Ileana, thank you for sharing the live current. I appreciate that. Ileana says, requirements, thank you. The requirements for DACA, I mean, you can find that on websites. I don't want to go through in detail. It's very technical, but you know, the USCIS website from I-821D has that. You can look it up. It's all right there. It's better just go to the source. Viney says, how about H-1B transfers? Well, H-1B transfers are happening. They've gotten more strict on them, though sometimes deny ones. I've seen that happen. But in general, H-1B transfers, nothing has happened that affects it if you're in the United States doing a change of employer. Sora says hi to you as well. Ileana says, do you know the year you have to be here to apply for DACA? I don't require the exact, I can't recall the exact year. I think it's maybe 2012. But again, just go to the source, check out USCIS.gov and their instructions for Form I-21D. That's the place, that's the best place to just go to the source instead of me trying to recall what it was exactly. Because it's been years now that because no new filings are happening. When people come to me, it's really just a matter of renewing the DACA rather than doing new ones. I rarely do a new DACA. We haven't been able to do a new DACA for like 2 years anyway. Viney says, how long does it take to transfer my H-1B to a new employer? It depends on how long USCIS wants to take. Ileana, you're welcome. So it's a good question. Yeah, DACA is a major issue, major thing. It's going to affect a lot of people's lives, losing the work permit or not knowing what's happening. And it's really a scary thing to be in because the government has all your contact info, know where you live, your job's intertwined with this, your livelihood, you're feeding your family. It's a really sticky and messy situation. You're welcome, Viney. Thank you so much. Monel Tariq says, when sponsoring a spouse, how important is the prior year gross income for the affidavit of support? Well, it's not necessarily gross. It could be adjusted gross income or your total income. It's a little bit different from gross, but I don't think it's that important. But in my experience, they've really only focused, and who knows whether Trump what's going to change. But in my experience, when cases I filed, they're primarily looking at your current income to show that you're going to continue making that money while you're married to support your spouse. However, I brought this up with other lawyers before, and they have told me, no, we've had tough times where they said, well, last year you didn't make this money. I haven't seen that issue be a problem. I might have been lucky. Preferably, you are making money, but you never know. So the answer is, it's not a good answer. I typically file these. I never worried about filing these, but I have heard attorneys say it's been a big deal. I just have never dealt with that. Most of the time, my clients who just started making money is because they just graduated from college or graduate school, so they have a reason for not being in the workforce. That's the majority of my clients, for example, are UCLA medical students who just graduated, UCLA law students, college students. They fell in love with the classmate, got married. So we say, okay, this person just graduated, and once they graduate, they're probably making good money. That's the typical client that I have. So I haven't had those extreme issues either way. But if you're worried, the thing to do is to try to find a joint sponsor to help. That may be the way to bolster the case. User 681 says, does US allow 5-year visitor visa to come to US right now? It depends. It depends on what country you're coming from, when your visa was issued, what's the background of the person. The question is too general. We have to know more information about a specific case to be able to answer that question. It's no general answer. You're welcome, Monterey. Lamsbury says, good evening to you. I have received a letter intent to deny my I-130 extra 60 days due to COVID. Sorry to hear that you got intent to deny on an I-130. That's harsh. That rarely happens, but consult an attorney in private to review the notice and maybe the RFE that they sent you originally to see why they're doing that. There is some extra time you get for responding because of COVID-19. I can't remember when the cutoff date for that's going to be, but it's just the thing to do is go and consult with an attorney in private. Karina, I think you're a regular. I said that name before. She says, I was in USCIS today for I-155. There is no I-155. There's an I-551, which is a green card, but they don't usually transfer this. Look, whatever it says. Officer told me that they transferred my case to San Francisco. That may be the case. The office you're in, maybe they've been busy or you moved addresses. I don't know. There's a lot going on there that I have to review to see what's going on with your case. Lance Breeze says, is it for all? I can take some more time to come up with evidence. I don't know. I have to see your case. I don't want to give you case-specific advice. But check out USCIS.gov over their rule about the extra time you have to respond to a notice of intent to deny. And based on that, until I see your case or read your case, I can't give you individual legal advice. So unless you schedule a consultation, we talk about it, go to USCIS.gov and check their requirements for getting extra time for certain submissions. Rose says, can an attorney make I-130 faster? Not really, but what an attorney can do is just do a cleaner job to avoid problems that come up for the I-130. But even with that, I was talking about this earlier. I have a case, an I-130 took, let's see, how long did it take to get approved? I think 6 or 7 months for a spousal case, and the spouse was overseas. And now the case was approved, and the case has to be sent to the embassy system, consular processing. we're waiting 1 month. I notify them. I get no answer because I'm like, why isn't this starting consular processing? 2 months go by. I notify them again. Finally, after 2.5 months, we got an email that said, please send us a copy of the approval notice. We send it, they look in the system, and they say, oh, USCIS is keeping the case because you indicated that the foreign spouse is inside the US and they're going to apply for a green card from within the US, not through the embassy, which is not the case. On the form I-130 in the application, we said this person is going to the embassy in their home country, and we wrote the city and country that is. So that's why the consular processing system is not getting the case, because USCIS mistakenly is keeping the case because they think the foreign applicant is inside the US, which they're not. And so we on the phone today, back and forth until they fix it. All of a sudden, all these months of wasted time are happening. So even if an attorney does it perfectly, even if your case is done relatively fast, there's errors everywhere in this system. So when it comes to speed, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I always say, don't let that be a priority. Don't think about that. If you can, try to distract yourself with other things, because you never know how the timelines are going to work with immigration, especially with the travel bans and COVID-19, embassy closures, mistakes by USCIS, mistakes by you, mistakes by the attorney, RFEs, all sorts of this stuff. Timing is not a thing to where, I know personally it is, but from a person that does it every day, day in, day out, it's so unreliable to think about timing and how long these things take. So definitely take a step back from it. User 618 says, Nepal, unfortunately, I don't remember what your question was, so I can't answer that. Agem says, have been married since 2011, and he was deported in 2013. I have a son with him. Any help? I mean, that's a complex case. You got to see why he was deported, what the court record for immigration court hearing says. I'm guessing there's probably some criminal history potentially. You and your husband need to have a consultation with an immigration attorney. Have copies of all your paperwork so they can review it. This is not something we can talk about here. This is deep. This is like surgery that's needed. So you really need to open a patient up and see what's going on. Karina follows up, says, they transferred my case I-552 to... I'm not sure what you're saying I-551 case. Do you mean an I-90? That's not the correct way to identify your case, so I can't give you exact information or even get close to it. But you're saying to SF, but I didn't get the notice. They told my interview going to be soon. Yeah, that's another thing. Look, when you're thinking about timing, USCIS didn't send this poor person the notice that they changed it, and she went and wasted her time there. So this kind of stuff happens all the time. This is normal. And so it is what it is. Now, if you had a lawyer, maybe you could mindful of certain things, but who knows? Karina says, do you think it's right? Karina, I don't understand what's going on with your case when you say I-551. That's just a green card term, but nobody uses that. That can mean a green card renewal. It can mean an immigrant visa case. It can mean you want a stamp in your passport. It's not clear from what you're saying, and it's getting too case specific. So if you want to talk about it, you have to schedule a consultation in my office where we can talk about it in private. It's too much getting into details of your private case in a public setting, so it wouldn't be appropriate to talk more about it. User 681 says, they got visitor visa last year. They're from Nepal. Reason to visit, the care of a pregnant daughter. I don't know. I got to talk to you about certain issues that involve with that fact pattern, but I can't get into that specific case over here in this setting. Santoshi says, U.S. Embassy open in Pakistan. My husband waiting for first interview. Yeah, I heard they're starting to schedule interviews in Pakistan, but we'll see. Hopefully it goes well. God bless, and I hope your husband comes here. Pakistan is a difficult embassy. It's considered a high fraud embassy. So because of that, you see a lot of denials for fraud for marriage and fiancé cases, a lot of document issues that pop up. A lot of times they'll say you're married when you're not, or you didn't get a proper divorce. So Pakistan is always a lot of problems. Just be prepared for that. Or get administrative processing, meaning you get stuck after the interview with no results. They'll just say, okay, keep waiting, keep waiting. Now, that may not happen to you. Maybe it just cleans up and goes, but be prepared. So when people ask again, how long is it going to take? Well, if you go to your embassy interview and for some reason the officer is not satisfied, you might wait 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 2 years, 4 years until you get a decision, or maybe they just don't even get a decision until you sue them or something like that. So that's why it's very impossible to really give accurate timelines in immigration cases. They're all just general numbers that can't be relied upon. Howard Smith says, can we apply for extension or change the F1 status of B2 visa being USA as my OPT is ending soon? Yeah, you could do a change of status from an F1 to a B2 as long as you're you're not out of status. So while you're finishing up your OPT or while you're in your 60-day grace period, you can file for change of status B2, and you should do that. Don't wait till it's expired. It may get approved, may not, but it'll buy you some more time to be here to figure things out. Agem says, I had an immigration lawyer. He was removed for fraud and all the information was invalid, was deported. Oh, that's a crazy situation. I don't know what to tell you. There's some parts I'm not fully understanding who was doing the fraud, who got deported, the lawyer got deported. That's kind of weird. But I'm sorry to hear that. It sucks. Nara says, what is the legal age for a kid born in the U.S. for the parents, and how long does it take green card? There's more to it than that. Technically, a child has to be 21 to be able to apply for their parents, but how long depends on a lot of different fact patterns of the backgrounds of the parents, what kind of immigration violations they have, and more than that. So, and what country they're from. There's just a lot going on there. I don't worry about the time, because anyone who gives you a time on that, other than very vague kind of time, is lying to you. So this question about time, and people aren't watching this whole video, so you probably didn't catch my long diatribes about it. But there's no logical, intellectual, truthful answer about timelines, especially right now. And so don't worry about how long it takes. See if you could do it in the first place, and that's the first thing you should focus. First and second, timing should not really that important here. Agent says my husband was deported. So yeah, you gotta consult an attorney on that. Israel says, I was about to join the Marines, but this coach offered a football scholarship. Don't know what to do. I don't know either. Go and pray on it. Brusha says, if a father files a green card application for son, and if he deceased suddenly, what's going to happen? Okay, this is a really important point. I've had videos about this. So check out on YouTube videos about humanitarian parole on the JQK Law YouTube page. But potentially, if the father filed for a green card for the son and unfortunately passed away, depending on where the case was in the processing, if the I-130 was approved or not, and other factors, maybe someone could take the place of the father. So you got to schedule a consultation with an attorney to see if you could use humanitarian parole, or there are other options available for the son to keep the case alive. There may or may not be. It's hard. It's not easy, but it may be a last resort. Go check it out. Nagina says, if my husband passes his interview, would they give him the visa the day, or will they have to wait? So I just talked about this in reference to Pakistan. It's not clear. They may or may not. It depends on a lot of different factors that you have no control over. Bushbet said, what's going to happen in the case of the father deceased? I just described that one. Sandy says, hi sirs, hi to you. Agent says, my husband got deported because of the lawyer. Maybe this is a complex thing, and maybe a lawyer would have to look at that private. Agent says, I'll have to get into contact with you to discuss more information. Sure, so you send me an email. I don't handle cases where people have deportation history, but I have a colleague who does a great job at this kind of stuff. So if you email me, break down what we talked about, and give me permission, I can forward your email to my colleague. You could connect and have a consultation with her. She handles cases where people have removal history or deportation history. Oh, we hit 5:30. It was a lot of talking. I didn't realize it. So we'll take one last question. Radhik says, I'm a green card holder. I applied for my husband from 2019 March. Do you think they are working on it? Yeah, they're working on it. I'm not sure what's going to happen. 2019, a year. For I-130s based on green card, it takes a while. And then another question. Harshmi says, I applied for hardship CPT 2 months ago. How much time does it take? How can I check status? Depending on the CPT, your school may be able to issue it. I don't know. How long it takes, again, these questions don't have any meaning. Sometimes it takes shorter, sometimes longer. Consult with it. First of all, contact your school, make sure they did the paperwork right, and then consult with the attorney in private. That's the best way to deal with that. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook at marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. I think it's the best breakdown of the marriage immigration process out there, bar none, hands down. And check it out. It's not, full legal information to give you exactly what to do, but it'll give you working knowledge of what the process entails better than anywhere with charts and stuff like that. I think it's great. If you want to schedule a consultation, send me an email. It's info@jqqlaw.com. Fees do apply to my consultations, but just break down what your immigration issue is, like see what's going on. And then follow us on the JQK Law Firm YouTube page, subscribe, and to get the latest information with there. Having said that, thank you so much for joining us this week. It was a wonderful week. We had, this was one of the best weeks when it comes to questions. A lot of times the questions kind of frustrate me and I want to run away, but this week was excellent. I look right now, it's like it's almost 35 minutes we're going, and we have more questions, but I got to stop. This throat can't handle it. Plus it's Friday night. I have to go with my family, spend some time with them. But I really want to thank all of you who are joining and participating. This is such a good group we have. Hopefully TikTok can continue because it's such a lively discussion we have every time. So many kind people, so many nice words, and we hope to help so many people because this is recorded. So the questions that you ask actually go on YouTube and I get clips of those. So it not only helps you who asked it, but it helps hundreds of thousands of other people in the same situation who may not be able to afford an attorney, or they have some bad information or something that's going to help them take their lives in a more positive step. And so whatever we can do in this society to help each other take things to the next level, I really want to do it. And if this technology right here with TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and everything else could help me do that, then thank the Lord. And I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you. And with that, have a great weekend. God bless, and be safe. Bye-bye.